I'm sitting here with Alex Gibney, who has yet another new film out this year. This one's called The Armstrong Lie. It's about Lance Armstrong. And it's also about a story of you as a filmmaker, Alex, in a way, because this started as a project that was called The Road Back, and it was a celebratory film about Lance Armstrong, the hero conquering cancer and coming back to racing in 2009. But you finished that film and you had to put it aside, and instead ended up making this film about Lance Armstrong having to come clean about his drug use. So in a way, it's your own mea culpa about having made the first film in some sense. Tell us about your process in coming to make a film about a lying hero as opposed to a reconquering hero.
Well, in a way, the film is about the anatomy of a lie, and I realized in some way I was part of the lie. I was part of the celebratory story that was supposed to make the lie make sense for a long, long time. Because if he came back in 2009 and he won clean, then would it have mattered? You know, he proved to everybody that he could win clean, or perhaps if you could prove it dirty. So I realized that I played a part in all of this, and the only way to make sense of this story was to go back and look at the film that I had made, reinvestigate it, and reinvestigate my own role.
Did you feel like a dupe in some way, because you'd been on the Tour de France with him while he was doping and telling you that he was clean?
Dupe it doesn't quite capture the feeling. It's more like I experienced kind of the thrill of being a fan, right? And when you become a fan, sometimes you allow yourself a suspension of disbelief. You're willing to, because you want the hero to win. And this story was a great and thrilling story. So what if it was true? So I allowed myself the freedom to experience that on the 2009 tour. So I put myself in the place of the fan. Now, did I always have suspicions about the past? Yes. But in the present, in 2009, I got caught up, as I say in the film. And that's part of the process here. You know, because everything about doping in sport all has to do with doubt. You know, it's the certainty that the athlete wants and the certainty that the fan wants. It's like, I'm a pure rooter. But when you start experiencing that doubt, is it the athlete or is it the dope?
Yeah, but what's interesting is about the film to me really is it the doping becomes really not the point at all. It's really this amazing tale of the human psyche and who Lance Armstrong is as a person. It's all about the lie. It's all about the cover-up, as we'd say, right? I mean...
Well, it's not about doping per se, it's about power. And Lance had power that he ultimately abused. And the power he had was a story that everybody wanted to believe in. But he used the power of that story to go after people who tried to tell the truth. Well, that's the thing that people don't forgive.
Well, that's true, and that really, when you see that, you know, he made his friends suffer. He humiliated them. He ridiculed them.
That's right.
And you sort of suspect that they're telling the truth. We didn't know for sure, but you know, just as a critical observer, I felt that why would these people be lying about him? I mean, that would be a very big step to take. But yet he looks in the camera and he said so many times, "It's not."
I did not dope, but he took it one step further, and that was the other part of this lie that I think made people so upset. He didn't just say, look, I've never tested positive. He said, how can you say that I, as a cancer survivor, would ever take performance-enhancing drugs? Well, in so doing, he makes millions of cancer survivors around the world a party to his lie. Now, we can all admit that he raised a tremendous amount of money for cancer victims and cancer survivors, but he made them a party to his lie in cycling, and that was something that a lot of people couldn't forgive.
So you started out thinking of him as a hero. Now what do you think of him as?
I think of him as an anti-hero. I think of him as somebody who made that Faustian bargain along the way. He faced a choice early on as a young man. Do I stay clean and lose, or do I dope and win? And once he went over and won, he found that the cruelty that he had on the bike, which was so successful in winning, didn't stay on the bike. It blew across the banks of the river, if you would, and so he couldn't contain it, and that cruelty ended up being something which was ultimately an abuse of power.
Did he ever apologize to you?
He did. He apologized to me. He said he had lied to me, and he reckoned that we would have an opportunity to talk about this again, and he ultimately did give me that opportunity.
Yeah, well, it's a very, very interesting portrait, this movie. Definitely more complex than the first one you made, which I guess is still sitting on a shelf somewhere.
That's right.
Great. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Shannon.